Luminousz Ztarr. Welcome to the channel. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about energy transference within a narcissistic codependent relationship. Please mind the description box below and also like and share today's video. I certainly hope everyone has been enjoying their holiday weekend. I know it was a long weekend, but it was much needed rest, I think, for most of us. But I know I was enjoying my holiday weekend, and I'm still enjoying it. But anyway, I certainly hope you all enjoyed today's video. Please don't forget to click that notification bell if you are current subscribers. Thank you so much for being my stars. And if you have recently subscribed, welcome to the Luminousz Ztarr family. Positive relationships deferred. Okay, so what often happens is that narcissistic codependent relationships can often discourage people from even investing in positive relationships, because sometimes the effect of narcissistic codependent relationships can actually leave one energetically drained. It may leave them hopeless. It may leave him or her feeling depressed, maybe having anxiety, social anxiety. See, having codependent narcissistic relationships in one's life, especially for a long period of time, can actually, again, leave one discouraged from even investing in other relationships that may not have +B personality types in them. And this is where we can get the contrast that is very much needed, especially when you're in relationships or having active relationships with +B personality types, whether that's on the job or at home or on the home front. Okay, so you're going to need that contrast. What does a contrast do? The contrast, number one, can provide harmony. Number two, it can provide balance. And number three, it can provide peace of mind. Okay, so this is something that most of us look for in our lives, whether we're conscious to it or not. But when it comes to having narcissistic codependent relationships, in order to continue to thrive forward past those relationships, you have to have the contrast. You have to have the before and after. You have to have the apples and oranges that you can compare. You need to look at people who are not narcissists and +B personality types and those who are. Now, the reason why I say you need to look at both is because you need that contrast, which will motivate you and hopefully inspire you to continue to thrive forward past narcissistic codependent relationships, which again can leave people feeling discouraged from even having positive relationships. Some people may not even think that it's possible to have positive relationships. This is what the aftermath of narcissistic codependent relationships can do to a person. Once these relationships show signs of ending, this can become devastating to those who are mostly or heavily invested in those relationships. And this does not mean just emotionally invested. A person can be financially invested in a codependent narcissistic relationship. These people can also end up feeling devastated after the relationship has ended or it begins to show signs of ending. Okay, let's look at some of the signs of trauma. Okay, there's trust, isolation, trauma. Okay, so signs of trauma are very apparent. Well, actually, I take that back. Sometimes it's not very apparent to some people. After we're having narcissistic codependent relationships, trust issues, isolation, and again, trauma can be very apparent to some people. The +B personality type more than likely will not notice these signs. These are some of the effects of narcissistic codependent relationships. Okay, so these type of relationships often have two components. That is pathological narcissism and codependency. So when it comes down to being mindful of these signs, this is something that's going to be imperative in order for you to thrive forward past narcissistic codependent relationships. Because like they say, if you don't know what the problem is, you really can't resolve it. You can't heal. Just like some people who go to Alcoholics Anonymous, they have to admit that they're an alcoholic or they have a problem first before they become sober or having a life of sobriety. Okay, let's move forward. transference effect. Energy transference is involuntary. Interacting with cluster B personality types can become emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically, and energetically, as well as financially, draining. Because I think I mentioned that before. When you're dealing with all of this stuff, the effects of it can be devastating. So don't be surprised when you start to see these signs, especially after being in a narcissistic codependent relationship for a long period of time. Okay, so it might seem that he or she vibes or gets along with others, but this is due to resonance. Resonance is imperative in order for people to be able to get along or share the same space or vibe with one another for periods of time. So when energy transference happens, some people's energies may repel naturally within a space. If they don't repel, they come together. They vibe, they get along. So sometimes your narcissist may seem to get along with everyone else except you. This, again, has everything to do with, well, something to do with resonance. Do you and that person vibe naturally? Do you usually see eye to eye? Or is there a lot of tension whenever you're sharing space, whenever you are sharing spaces with one another? Okay, so narcissists and cluster B personality types, often they're not conscious to this. Sometimes they are conscious, okay, to the effects of the narcissistic codependent relationship on others, because sometimes they sit back and they watch reactions. They try to goad people into arguments in order to have the reactions, so they can sit back and they can feed off of the energy fields of those that they target. Energy transference effect. Okay, I'm going to speak about this a little bit more. Pain versus pleasure, force versus power, and repel versus magnitude has all to do with the expansion and pulling of energies that share a space for any amount of time. Okay, so again, there's a pulling effect and there's an expansion. Your energy, if you are usually on a higher vibration, if your vibration and frequency usually higher, okay, if you operate or function from a higher, therefore you tend to feel gratitude, love, okay, you tend to be able to get along with different types of personality types. Okay, the cluster B personality type is a cluster B personality type that has a personality disorder. Okay, it's a personality disorder, meaning you are not the only person that finds it very challenging to get along with the cluster B personality type. Now, I'm not trying to demonize anyone who has a cluster B personality type. However, this is a very complex and very challenging personality type to get along with. When the energy transference happens, don't expect your narcissist to always be conscious of this. Don't expect him or her to be conscious of how you're experiencing the narcissistic codependent relationship. Because 9 out of 10 chances, they're not going to be conscious to it. Their false self-image takes priority because they want the narcissistic supply. So when they extract energy from other energy bodies, this, of course, feeds their addiction, if not their obsession with getting the narcissistic supply. Okay, so we have to be mindful of the energy transference, because when you're around this person and you're spending a lot of time with him or her, don't be surprised that you feel drained. I mean, no wonder we feel drained. No wonder we don't feel so good after that encounter. So be very mindful of the effects of the energy transference. Mind your energy body, okay? The pulling effect of narcissist energy body and the expansion of your energy body more than likely will cause a lot of tension to occur within the relationship. Okay, now I touched on that before. Energies that do not resonate with one another. Energies that do not resonate with one another or that are not operating on the same vibration or frequency will often fight for dominance within that space. This also explains why sometimes we may feel the push and pull effect that's going on in the relationship. You say black, they say white. You say up, they say down. Just that constant tension that's filled in the relationship. I mean, it's a lot of tension. The environment is not so pleasant. You're dealing with this energy type on the home front. But then when you go out to your job, you're dealing with it some more. Okay? So going through this day in and day out will probably cause some health issues. Okay? And some of you are already experiencing this. This is something I went through. All right? So you have to be mindful of the energy transference. We are all comprised of energy. So when you're around people that your energy don't vibe with, don't be surprised that you may start showing signs of trauma. You may start showing signs of having trust issues. You may even begin to isolate. You're discouraged. You've gone through an ordeal. You've been dealing with cluster personality types seemingly all your life. So you may start to think that it's hopeless to even have positive relationships. But again, don't be surprised when you start to see signs of the effect of narcissistic codependent relationships. Okay, gonna talk a little bit more about minding your energy body. Therefore, narcissists often will break down personal boundaries in order to extract from energy bodies of targeted for narcissistic supply. Okay, so some cluster personality types, they may not be aware of how you're being affected within that relationship. So when their energy body pulls from yours, don't expect them to know what they're doing. Consciously, that is. Sometimes they will know because they want the narcissistic supply by any means necessary. Okay, so they just may not care about the effect that it's taken its toll on you. They may not care about how you're experiencing their energy. Don't expect them to understand, yet alone even care. All right, because what's key is that he or she gets that narcissistic supply by any means necessary. Their false self-image must rule at the end of the day. So they will often do that at other people's expenses. Okay, so when your energy body expands, that means you are the person who is able, or you have the capacity to love. You have the capacity to show some signs of being friendly and kind to other people. You have gratitude. You're able to have gratitude. Narcissists and cluster personality types, some of them, they complain a lot, even though they really, from the outside looking in, have a lot to be grateful for. Okay, so when you're in a relationship, when you're sharing the space with that type of energy and spirit, it can take its toll. Narcissists and cluster personality types often will use force, not power, in order to obtain the narcissistic supply. You are the one that has most of the power in the relationship, but you're not conscious to it because your energy body is able to expand, therefore nourish others. And the narcissist and cluster personality type, their energy pulls from your energy body, so therefore you feel drained. So how in the world are you gonna, possibly feel like you're powerful? But actually you are. You're more powerful than you think you are. Okay, narcissists and cluster personality types, again, they often use force in order to get what they want. In other words, they manipulate in order to get the narcissistic supply. The contrast offers you balance and harmony as well as peace of mind within the relationships that you will have with others or may have with others. But when you're in a relationship with a narcissist and cluster personality type, this usually is not the case. Okay? You usually feel drained, therefore you don't feel like you have any power. You often have the enmeshment, okay? Toxic ties, trauma bonds, where you're losing your identity. You're having an identity crisis, so therefore you're not going to feel like you're powerful. You're going to forget how powerful you really are in all of your relationships. Narcissists and cluster personality types pull and you expand your energy bodies. Therefore, it's going to cause a lot of tension in the relationship. Your spirits and your energies will fight for dominance within that space. Okay, let's move forward. Tool number 1, remember your life has purpose. Tool number 2, know yourself. Tool number 3, give yourself permission to thrive. Okay, all of these tools correlate with one another, and when you use and comprise them all together and apply them to your life or to your support base, you more than likely will see results that can be a game changer. And of course, I wish everyone the best on utilizing these tools. And on that note, I want to thank I'm Luminousz Ztarr, and don't forget, you are also a Luminousz Ztarr. No matter how dark things may get, you continue to thrive and shine and illuminate. Okay? Don't forget that. Share your stories. You never know who's going to be inspired by those stories. Alright, again, until next time, take care of yourself. Come back again. Mwah.